I know I did a reading just the other day about what he's feeling going into the weekend. And the Nobel Peace Prize was part of it. You know, he wanted to win that. But now that's shattered. I want to know. I'm going to ask the universe if the universe will allow me to know and to allow me to deliver it if I get a message. What I'm allowed to see, what I'm allowed to repeat, is how will this loss affect him? I know he's going to Walter Reed today for his annual checkup that he already had in April, but okay. Supposedly he's going there to talk to the troops. And then he's getting his annual checkup because he thinks our memory is as bad as his because he thinks we forgot he already went in April, but okay. But how will this loss of the Nobel Prize that I'm sure he was counting on affect his behavior? He's also claimed that he's going to the Middle East on Sunday in his last big hurrah to earn that Nobel Prize for being a peacemaker. Because after all, you know, he thinks he solved or ended 7 or 8 wars. I don't even think he knows 7 or 8 countries, but okay. I just want to know, like, how will this play into his head? Will this play into his future behavior? Because he'll be angry and he'll be vindictive. To do this read, I'm using the beautiful Spanish Tarot by Fournier. If I ever forget to mention the deck name that I use, always look in the descriptive area because I always give credit to the decks I use, the deck creators. They deserve credit. And, you know, I know how frustrating it is when I'm watching a video and I see a deck, I like it, and I can't figure out where where it came from. That's not cool. So here we go. I'll flip the camera, go into my meditative place, ask in earnest how this loss of what he feels was owed to him, how this will affect his behavior in the next few days, in the coming 2 weeks. He's always saying 2 weeks, right? So we'll see how this affects his behavior within the next 2 weeks. All right, dear universe. You heard the entail of that. I'm sorry. All righty. First card out of the gate. We have 4 swords. So he's protecting something. He's protective of something in the arena of air or military, or he's protecting something. He'll be protective of something. Air and earth don't get along so great. He's protective of himself. I mean, he is the king of money. We could definitely see him as the king of money. So he'll be protective regarding something about himself that he's ill at ease with. He's looking at the hermit. Well, I don't think anyone could accuse him of being a wise man, but we might be able to recognize that he recognizes he's reached his end. The hermit can represent a few things in the context of a question, and it can represent all the things at the same time. It could represent wisdom, it can represent solitude, being alone, and it could represent the number 9, which is the end, coming to the end. So he might, on his mind, just based on these 3 cards, and I haven't put it all together with the other cards, or the quints, of course, but he might be very concerned about the fact that that he recognizes his end. Maybe he doesn't see it happening, tomorrow, but he recognizes it. And he wants to, maybe he's concerned about preserving his reputation. He might be concerned. It's a little late, I think, but okay. Maybe that's it. Okay, and it all gets back to money, of course. Now, of course, 10 coins could be seen as, excuse me for coughing. Haven't been feeling well, and I got a cough. Whenever I get sick, I have a cough for 6 months. And then when I finally get rid of it, I get it again because I catch a cold and then it goes into a cough. But, 10 coins can represent like everything you've earned your whole life, right? And it might be because it falls under a card of safeguarding something. He might be trying to safeguard his empire, front and center of the core 9. Well, this showed up not too long ago in a read I did where one of the thoughts was he's trying to stay one step ahead of the hanged man. So I traditionally see the hanged man, or based on my understanding of the origin stories, as a crime and punishment, right? So I think I find it hard to imagine that he recognizes that there may be consequences for his actions. I just find it hard to believe that he actually is that self-aware. But there it is. And then we have 9 that flanks 10. So we have the end, right? Now here, he might feel ill at ease over people. October 18th is coming, and it's supposed to be a big march or big protest. So he knows that people are not happy, and he wants to send guards to all the blue cities and the blue towns and the blue states where there's likely to be protests, because he wants to make it impossible for them to have a voice, right? I mean, he's not sending the National Guard to the red states, right? So this October 18th thing is coming up, and the blue states are going to be more motivated than the red states. And I hope a fair portion of the red states, the folks in the red states, have come to understand. I hope. But I think he's trying to stay a step ahead of the crowds, because he knows October 18th, no King's Day, is coming up. Let's see what else we got. And he's concerned about his legacy for his children, I guess. I don't see how. But see, the intellect in me says he's not concerned. It's up to them to worry about it. As far as he's concerned, I think he'd throw them under the bus if it saved his neck. Okay, we have 8, another 8. Oh, no, I apologize. This is the only 8. 8 cups. Okay. The Tower. And the Valet of Batons. This is very interesting. I'm not sure what direction to take this in at the moment. I'm just going to do the Quint cards and see if it helps me flesh it out. I'll be right back. Okay, so the question was how his loss, and for the second deck where I had to pull cards that were already in play, I had to pull another Hermit. And so I used the classic tarot by Scarabeo. And then I had to pull a second Empress because she was also in play at the bottom row. But remember, the question was, how will not winning the prize affect his behavior? And I don't think it's so much the prize that's going to be affecting his behavior. I think he's just fixated on his mortality. In addition to what I said about this row, which was the row that I discussed, how I think he's trying to protect or is aware of his, mortality. Then we have the death card, and they're both coming for him, and he's aware of it. He's looking at them, and they're coming, right? So I'm wondering, and then we have the Empress, which could be, in the context of this particular question, fertility in life, right? So he might be feeling his life draining. You know what I'm saying? I think when people are not well, there's an awareness, I mean, he's an idiot, but, he must have some awareness, unless his medical team is just not being honest and they're telling him, good job, you can tell a rhinoceros from a kangaroo, but excuse me, I had to take a sip of tea. There must be somebody who's telling him the truth. And if nobody's telling them the truth about his health and well-being, then I think he's somewhat aware. But I think somebody's got to be telling him the truth. Because this, to me, what I'm saying or what I'm thinking before I'm putting it out in words is that I think his health will dictate his behavior in his acts, or his concerns about his health will dictate his actions more than losing his perceived right as the Nobel Prize winner. Although I think he totally thought that prize belonged to him. I don't think don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to underplay or underestimate his level of vengefulness or pettiness or vindictiveness. But I think what's front and foremost in his mind is that he's not well and that he's feeling the life drain out of him, right? He's feeling the life drain from him. We also have the Hermit card in this row, looking here. And, I'm wondering if this row is talking about the federal judge. What was the name of that judge? I think it was Judge Perry. Have recently blocked Chicago National Guard deployment. So I think he's reading the writing on the wall, Now, it doesn't stop him because he'll either appeal or he'll just try something else. And, he never stops. But he might be feeling like he's running out of steam. He might be. Now, this, I accidentally perceived it originally as an 8. Because I knew there was another card of the same value, But really it was because I was thinking of the 9. And then when I gave it a second look, when I was calculating the Quint cards, I realized it was a 9. So we have 2 cards that are 9, right? We have 2 cards that are 9, which suggests an end, coming to an end. We have a 10, which is the end, right? We have destruction. We have the Tower, rather, which means shaking things up, changing things from where they've been. We have 4 9s because we have 2 9s, a 10, and 2 hermits, right? And then we have the Death card. So this reading is all about end, right? All about the end. So I think his behavior will be more about facing his mortality at this stage than it is about vindictiveness, I hope. Now, he lost his chance to get into heaven with losing that Nobel Peace Prize, right? He lost that chance because that's how his little brain works. So what's his next chance? Can he get into heaven by declaring war on his own country? I mean, and I wonder if he'll have a moment of self-reflection where he thinks, maybe I didn't get into heaven because I didn't get the Nobel Peace Prize because I'm declaring war on my own country. But I can't give him that much credit. I can't give him that much credit. And this, I think, just demonstrates that his wish, the wish fulfillment card, his wish just didn't come true. It just didn't come true. So that part of his world just didn't come true before the end came. So, right? And then we have the inner child facing mama. I don't know. I mean, I already discussed that the Empress feels like his life energy being depleted. Who knows? Maybe he's having visions of his mother. You know, sometimes they say when you get to the end, you start seeing the people, or they appear to you. I don't know. I don't know if he's that far. I don't know if he's that close. But this could be child-mother kind of dynamic. Or it could be, wanting to feel the vitality of youth. But, his life vitality is coming to an end, right? Either way you look at it, if we see this as life vitality or the source of life and living, with all the 9s and 10s and death and all that in this spread, it just seems like he's just feeling a depletion. And his wish didn't come true, and I think this is his inner child, just feeling like, Mommy. So I don't know. I think I asked the question, how will not winning the prize affect his behavior? And I'm thinking that maybe that won't really have much of, maybe he won't be vindictive towards Norway. I pray to God he's not vindictive. I do pray to God. And I pray to God that he doesn't try to escalate any wars or unrest because he didn't get his prize. Because I didn't get my prize, I'm going to shove it up your backsides. I hope he doesn't do that. But I think he's too focused on his own problems that maybe he'll be paralyzed by his own what's the word? Inevitability of his mortality. Until next time, friends, peace, stay well, be brave, and please be kind.